Go live. All right. Where's it again? Okay. Live. Just double check. Here we are. Yes, we are live. All right. We are ready to start. Okay, let's get the guitar out. And let's see what we're going to chant tonight. A nice song. Nice. Okay. Okay, let's go. We're going to chant Vibha Varishesha by Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Vibha Varishesha Lokaprovesha Jacharita Jiva Bolo Hari Hari Mukundu Marari Ramakrishna Hayagreva Nrsimhavamana Shivana Sudana Prachandranandana Sham Nanakatana Koita Pashatana Jaya Dashati Ram Shoda Tulala Govinda Gopala Vrindavan Purnara Gopi Puryana Jana Radhika Ramana Bhuvana Sundara Bora Ravanata Kora Akanata Skora Upijana Pascha Hari Sharam Rakala Upavindavolo Chitari Vamshidare Lokindra Bandana Srinadana Rajajanavaya Puri Navina Nirada Uparanohara Mohana Pam Shivari Yashoda Nandana Kamshani Sudana Nikunja Raksa Vilasi Katamakanana Rasaparayana Vrindavipina Nivase Ananda Varnana Jana Kele Parayana Manasa Chandra Takora Namachura Rasa Rama Krishna Yasha Kumachana Manara Machura Rasa Rama Krishna Yasha Rakovachana Manamura Vivarishesha Anuka Prusha Vichachadev Jiva Bolo Boli Bolo Hari Hari Kunamurare Rama Krishna Yariva Molo Hari Hari Kunamurare Rama Krishna Yariva Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Paramacharya Osutela Sajashi Shimad His Divine Grace Abhaya Chalana the Bhaktapada Goswami Maharshila Prabhupada Ki Jai ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Vilas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Shivasati Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Shri Shri Radhakrishna Gopikupanath Sayam Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Vrindavan Ki Jai Paturam Ki Jai Jagadasami Ki Jai Yamunamai Ki Jai Srimad Tulasi Devi Ki Jai Samavheda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Gaur Premananda Hari Hari Bol. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Nama Om Vishnupadaya, Krishna Prastaya Budale, Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Namani Namaste, Saraswati Devi, Gauravani Pacharani Nivashesha Shunyavadi Paschatyadejatarni. Let me read the translation. The night has come to an end, and the light of dawn is entering. O Jiva soul, arise and give up your sleep. Chant the holy names of Lord Hari, giver of liberation, enemy of the demon Mora, supreme enjoyer, all attractive, and Haya Guriva, the horse-headed incarnation. Nada Singha, half man, half lion incarnation. Vamana, dwarf Brahman incarnation, killer of the demon Madhu, beloved son of Braja's ruler. Beautifully dark complexioned slayer of the witch Putana, destroyer of the demon Kaitaba, and victorious son of Dasharatha, Lord Ram. Darling of Yashoda, giver of pleasure to cows, land, and spiritual senses, cow protector, Lord of Vrindavan, the gopis' beloved, lover of Shrimati Radharani, and most beautiful in all the worlds. Cause of the demons, Ravana's demise is Lord Ram, butter thief, robber of the gopi girls' clothes, young cowards, man of Braja, protector of the other coward boys, thief of hearts, and flute carrier. Worshipped by the best of the yogis, Nanda's joy, remover of all fears for the people of Braja, color like a fresh rain cloud, enchanting in form and charming while wandering and playing the flute. Yashoda's joy, vanquisher of demon king Kamsa, enjoyer of the rasa dance among the forest groves, and especially under the kadamba trees, and resident of the woods of Brinda. increasing the ecstasy of his devotees, reservoir of all love, the transcendental Cupid, who uses his flowered arrows to increase the loving desires of the gopis, the pleasure of the hearts of all the coward women and men, and the abode of all wonderful qualities. The life of the Yamuna River, always absorbed in amorous pastimes, and moon of the mind, which is like the moonlight, feeding Chakora bird. Heed my words, O mind. These holy names are full of nectarian mellows. Therefore sing the glories of Krishna. Bhaktivinoda Thakur Ki Jai. So, we're very happy to hear from Bhaktivinoda Thakur. It's actually someone wrote me a message saying, should we just concentrate on Srila Prabhupada's books? And, of course, my answer is we should learn what's in Srila Prabhupada's books, read Srila Prabhupada's books several times, and do as Srila Prabhupada said, to read the books of the Acharyas, such as Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Srila Prabhupada himself was asked which work of Bhaktivinoda Thakur's would he translate, which he wanted to do. And he said Jaiva Dharma. So we are reading Jaiva Dharma upon Srila Prabhupada's recommendation and relating it to everything we have heard or learned in Srila Prabhupada's books. Because without Srila Prabhupada's mercy, none of us would be qualified to be reading this Jaiva Dharma or any spiritual literature, as a matter of fact. Let's see. No lights. Anyway, just have to tolerate. So, so with that in mind, we're going to go on to the Jaiva Dharma. So, Om Ganat Timirandasha Gananjana Shalakya Chakshur and Meditam Yena Tasmai Shigadve Namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances under the lotus feet of my spiritual master's divine grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, who so kindly opened my eyes with a torchlight of knowledge while I was blinded in the darkness of ignorance. Wow. Blinded in ignorance. Okay, so let's share the screen. And here we go. This is where we left off. So, what we heard last time was about Krishna's contradictory qualities. And Krishna has all these, he's smaller than the smallest, bigger than the biggest. And all as far as his personal qualities or personalities, there's Dhiradatta, Dhirabhishanta, and Dhiralalita. Sometimes he's bold and he teases people, other times he's shy. So Krishna is a person, because every person has innumerable contrary qualities. So why not Krishna? We have different qualities in different situations, don't we? Of course we do. Actually, it's important to develop the 26 qualities of Vaishnava. So we should probably publish this list. It's actually a really important list. Maybe I should share the screen for a second and see if I can find that list. Hold on a second. 26 qualities of Vaishnava. 6 qualities of a Vaishnava, see? Even Google knows about it. So here's the 26 qualities of Vaishnava. Jaya Prabhupada. I think everybody can read it. So, 26 qualities of a Vaishnava. Let me just put the chat window there. So, why these 26 qualities listed? Why should we be aware of them? Well, I'll tell you one, twice, or 3 different reasons. One is that we should be able to identify someone who's a Vaishnava. That's the first thing. Second thing is we should be able to see how fast we're advancing in devotional service by how we're developing these qualities. And thirdly, we should try to think of these qualities insofar as our daily actions, even if we haven't internalized these qualities yet, we should act in this way. We should be kind to everyone, not have anyone be our enemy. So these are guidelines for us to follow. Not that you simply wait till they develop in your consciousness, but you follow these particular guidelines. And I'm not going to go over all of them right now. I mean, they're really wonderful qualities. And we could give a whole week seminar on them. Oh my God. Wow. So we probably posted this list so that devotees should or could focus themselves on obtaining these qualities. Really interesting. Meek, steady, controlling senses, etc. Okay, let us go back to the Jaiva Dharma. How about that? Okay, so Krishna has many contradictory qualities too. So, let's continue. And so the Babaji basically presented to Brajanath that Krishna has contradictory qualities, and Brajanath said, do the Vedas accept this? Why is he asking that question? Because he wants to verify what his guru has told him through statements in the Vedic literatures. And because that's very important, we have this Guru Sadhu Shastra, checks and balances. So Babaji said the truth is accepted everywhere. There's a famous verse from the Shvetashvatara Upanishad. Apanipado javana grihita pashyati achakshu sashanochakarna saveti vedyam nacha dashasti vetatang ahur agriyam purusham mahantam. Without hands and feet, he moves and receives. Without eyes, he sees. Without ears, he hears. He knows the universe, and no one knows him. He is called the great original Purusha. Svetashvatara Upanishad 3:19. And here's something from the East Upanishad we studied. Tad ejati, tad tannayajati, tadurye, tadvantake, tadantarasya sarvasya, tadu sarvasya vayata. Others fear the Lord, but the Lord fears no one. He's far away, but close. He's inside everything and outside everything. You know, these are apparently contradictory. He is far away, but close. He's inside everything and outside everything. Of course, as a universal form, he's outside of everything. And as the Mahavishnu, he's outside of everything, but as a super soul, he's inside everything. He's far away in Goloka Vrindavan, but he's in your heart. Another verse from the Upanishad. Saparya gachchukram akayam avrinam ashnaviram shudam apapavidam kaviram anishi parivu swayambhur yatat yatotan Vyadadhach chashvati vyasamabhya. The knower of the all-pervading Lord attains the Lord who is without grief, perfect in qualities and eternal, without subtle or gross body, most purifying and untouched by sins. Apapavidam. He is omniscient, controlling the minds of all, the best and independent. Such a Lord has created real objects eternally. Probably gives a little bit different translation to this verse. Should we consult Prabhupada's translation right now? Yeah, maybe we should. Let me just look at Prabhupada's translation and read it for you. It's Upanishad 8. Okay. Shri Isopanishad. Upanishad. Here we go. 8. Okay, we got it. So here is Prabhupada's translation, which is a little bit different. Such a person must factually know the greatest of all, the personality of Godhead, who is unembodied, that means doesn't have the material body, omniscient, beyond reproach, without veins. Yeah, that's Ashnaviram. Pure and uncontaminated, the self-sufficient philosopher who has been fulfilling everyone's desire since time immemorial. And that's more precise, that particular definition. Okay, let's go back. Brajanath asks, do the Vedas, where are we? Okay. Do the Vedas mention that the Lord endowed with independent Shakti manifests in the world? In other words, does Krishna appear in this world? That's interesting. Babaji said, yes, in many places it's stated in the Kena Upanishad. So notice that in many cases the Babaji is making reference to what's called the Shruti mantras. Shruti mantras means the original 4 Vedas, Rig, Sama, Yajur, and Atharva Veda, and the Upanishads. So this, in one sense, for many people, this gives it more weight than simply quoting from the Puranas, like Bhagavad Purana, or from the Itihasas, like the Mahabharata and the Ramayana. Itihasa means history. Basically, the word Itihasa means thus it happened. Itihasa. So anyway, so they're both historical. So, but the Puranas are arranged in a specific sequence, and that's how they become known as Puranas. They tell history, dynasties, but in particular sequences that the Itihasas don't necessarily do. Yes. So, yes, the Babaji says, in many places it is stated, in the Kena Upanishad and in the discussion between Parvati and Shiva, it is related that Indra and the Devatas destroyed the demons and became proud. The Devatas displayed their pride. At that time, the Lord appeared in an astonishing form and asked the reason for their pride. Interesting story. He told them to try to destroy a blade of grass by their power. The Devatas were astonished by his form and powers. This is the story. Tasmai trinam nidadavitadahiti tad upapriyaya sarvajjavenatana shashaka dogdum satatta eva nivarvrite naitad ashakam vidyatum yaditat yakshamiti. Placing a blade of grass before Agni, the Yakshas said, please burn it. With great speed, Agni approached the grass, but even using his greatest strength, he could not burn it. Then Agni left the Yaksha and returned to the Devatas and said, I could not understand who that Yaksha was. The profound conclusion of the Vedas is that Bhagavan is an inconceivable, beautiful person. By his desire, he appears and performs pastimes with the jivas. That's us. Brajanath asks another question. It has been said that the Lord is an ocean of ras. Where do the Vedas say this? So in other words, he's asking again for Shruti mantras. Shruti mantra, as I stated before, means the original 4 Vedas along with the Upanishads to verify what the Puranas say and what his guru is saying. So, ocean of ras means an ocean of different tastes. You know, he's tasting different rasas, and he's also manifesting different rasas for the devotees to taste. And he's manifesting certain rasas for the non-devotees to taste. The non-devotees cannot taste bhakti rasa, but they can taste some rasas in this world. Just like when we eat, we are tasting some rasas in the food. When we fight, we're tasting some rasas like anger or ghastliness and things like that. But as far as the transcendental rasas, we can't taste. At least the bhakti rasa you can't taste unless you're a devotee. So, the Tatitriya Upanishad verifies that the Lord is an ocean of ras. And what does it say there? Yad Vaita Sukritam Risho Vaisa Rasam Yevayam Labdhanandi Bhavati Ko Yevan Yat Ka Pranyat Yadesha Akasha Anando Nasyat Esha Yevanandayate. Okay, just there's a little question here in the middle. So, to whom did Krishna give the Shruti mantras? The Shruti mantras were given in a different age to basically the Brahmanas, the ritualistic, or those who were actually Brahmins, who could understand the import and purport behind them. That's all. And only they were allowed to chant the Shruti mantras. Only those who were actually not only born Brahmins, but by quality Brahmins. But in this age of Kali, what's more important is the Puranas, especially Bhagavad Purana. He who expertly creates is ras, bliss. He who expertly creates is ras. So Krishna is the ras, bliss ras. The jiva attaining the Lord becomes blissful. If the Lord who is bliss did not exist, who could live? He alone gives bliss. That's nice. He alone gives bliss. Now, what is this? Tata 3 Upanishad 271. So what do we experience in this world that we call bliss? We say that was a blissful movie, even though it wasn't about Krishna. That was blissful. No, it wasn't blissful. It got you involved, yes. It got you forgetting about all your sorrows, and in that way you experience what you think is bliss, but which cannot be compared to even a drop of bhakti ras, the bliss of bhakti ras. Prajnath said, if he, that's Krishna, is the form of ras, taste, why can the materialistic people not see him? Good question. Because if Krishna is the form or the origin of all taste, not just taste with the tongue, but taste in relationship, basically speaking more about taste in relationship. Form of ras, I'm sorry. Yeah, taste and ras, the same thing. So, mainly the ras, or the relationship. Babaji answered, the jivas bound by Maya are in two conditions. They, turn outwards, parak, and turn inwards, pratyak. Those turned outwards are those averse to Krishna. In other words, we're trying to enjoy the external matter. Like I'm trying to enjoy my phone. It's very dear to me. That's parak. They cannot see the beauty of Krishna. That is true. Because if one really appreciates beautiful things in this world, apart from Krishna, and thinks, oh, how beautiful, how beautiful, how beautiful, it turns your face and your consciousness away from Krishna's beauty. As much as we are attracted to things of this world, is as much as we don't have attraction for Krishna. And as much as we are attracted to Krishna, this is the same amount is how we are detached or not attracted to things in this world. They are turned towards matter, thinking of material objects, and see material objects. The persons turned inwards are opposed to seeing Maya. These are like Mayavadis, Buddhists, and personalists. They are favorable to Krishna and can see the pleasurable form of Krishna. Oh wait, sorry. Got it wrong. Are opposed to seeing Maya. Oh, that's actually Krishna. Conscious people. Sorry. I thought it was in Mayavadis. The persons turned inwards are opposed to seeing Maya. They are favorable to Krishna and can see the pleasurable form of Krishna. Of course, there's another type of person who does see inwards, and they're not looking at the external energy, but they're looking at merging or the Brahman effulgence. But in this particular context, it's talking about people who see inwards or face inwards, and they face towards Krishna. Paranchi kane vyatrinat swayam bhush tasmat param pasati nantaratman kasyatira pachigatmanam aikshad avrita chakshur amritatvam micham. The Creator created external senses. These are the senses. Therefore, man sees external objects, not the inner Lord. The wise man, desiring immortality, turning his eyes inward, sees the Lord within. That's Katha Upanishad 2:1-1. That's why when the yogi is meditating, or attempting to meditate on the Supersoul, he pulls his senses in like the tortoise, and Prabhupada said he focuses on the tip of the nose. And that's an interesting statement. Why the tip of the nose? Well, if you focus on the tip of your nose, you can't really get attracted to anything in this world. I mean, unless you're attracted to the tip of your nose. So, with eyes half closed, Prabhupada said, because if Prabhupada explained that if you close your eyes fully, there'll be a tendency to go to sleep. And if you open your eyes fully, there's a tendency to be attracted to Maya. And if you close your eyes halfway, everything's a little bit blurry in this world. Just try it. Everything in the world is a little blurry, and you're looking at the tip of your nose, so you're not going to really be attracted to many things. Try that. So, all right. So, Rajanath asks another question. What is the form of ras mentioned in Rasovai Saha? That's one of the previous verses. Babaji said, and again quoting from the Upanishads. Oh, the question was, Vyas put them in writing for Kali Yuga souls? No. Vyas didn't put them in writing for Kali Yuga souls. For Kali Yuga souls, first there was the Mahabharata. And then after that, at the same time or whatever, there's the Mahabharata and the Ramayana, the two great histories. And so Vyas put them down for the fallen souls of Kali Yuga. But when he saw that even with the Mahabharata and the Ramayana, people were not understanding the absolute truth and getting bewildered by hearing all these stories that were connected with Krishna, but because people didn't understand their connections with Krishna, they would take those stories as either mundane or examples that they should follow when they are not qualified on the same level as the Pandavas. Of course, they may be qualified on the same level as Duryodhana and company, but not at the Pandavas. So where's the form of ras mentioned in Rasa Vaisa? In Gopal Tapani Upanishad 1:8-9 says, Gopa Vesham Abdrabam Taranam Kalpadrumakshritam Satpundarikam Nayanam Megabham Vaidyutambaram. Dvibhujam Mona Mudradyam Vanamarinam Ishwaram. The form of Krishna wears the dress of a coward. He has the complexion of a cloud. He is youthful and sits under a desire tree, meditating with concentration on two-armed, lotus-eyed, silent Krishna, who has the complexion of a cloud, who wears cloth flashing like lightning and a garland, one becomes liberated. Jai. So that's interesting. In the Upanishads, Gopavesham, wow, Tarunam can also mean girls. Anyway, Kalpa Dharma. Kalpa Vriksha. Desire trees, young girls, dresses as a gopa, coward boy, lotus eyes, pundarika nayanam, it's the same thing as pundarikaksham, megabham, that means a cloud, megabham vayutambaram, dressed. All right, megabham means his complexion like a cloud, vayutambaram means dressed, Vayaju, means he's dressed in cloth. Dvibhujam means two arms, like Chaturbhujam would be four arms. Mona Mudraja, I'm not saying anything. Mudra. Oh no, sorry. He has beautiful mudras. Mona Mudra. Anyway, Mona, not talking, and his actions are very beautiful. And he's a Vana Malinam, so like flower garlands, and he's the supreme controller. Interesting, beautiful verse. Gopal Tapani Upanishad. Bhadranath said, I've understood that Krishna's Swarup exists eternally in the spiritual world. He is endowed with all Shaktis, energies. Swarupa means form, his own form. Rupa is form, Swarupa means his own form, original form. He's endowed with all Shaktis. He is the form of ras, that's taste, and one cannot attain the shelter of all rasas by Brahmagyan, etc. In other words, just knowledge of spirituality doesn't give you the experience of all these different rasas. We live for ras, taste, just like we like tasty food. Like Prabhupada one time was being fed food that wasn't so tasty in the name of health. And Prabhupada said, let your austere diet go to hell, basically. He understood. He said, we should eat tasty prasadam. Prabhupada even once said, better die eating tasty prasadam. Of course, Prabhupada was joking at that particular juncture. Because if you don't have a taste for doing things, then you're like a robot. And sometimes you see that. I mean, it's interesting that even sometimes devotees are not absorbed in kirtan. And I look at videos of them on the internet. Not that all day long I'm doing that. But I may see a video and the devotees are just sitting there like, chanting of course, but there's no smile on their faces. Actually, when we're chanting, especially the kirtan, we shouldn't look grumpy. It was like one of the seven dwarfs, his name was Grumpy. The devotee is never grumpy. Okay, remember that. If you were grumpy, then you've got a long way to go. So Ashtanga Yoga searches, Ashtanga Yoga means the Hatha Yoga process, eightfold, eight angas or limbs, beginning with yam and niyam, restrictions, positive injunctions, sitting down in a secluded place, asana, pranayama, breathing in a certain way, meditating, thinking of, meditating, taking the mind away from matter and putting it in Krishna. That's the Ashtanga Yoga process. Through that Ashtanga Yoga process, one is looking for Paramatma, the four-armed Lord in the heart, his Angsa. So the Paramatma is the expansion of Krishna, Angsa. Brahman without qualities is Krishna's bodily effulgence. Eternally manifesting spiritual qualities, he, that's Krishna, is the object of worship for the whole world. But I do not see a method to easily attain him. He is beyond conception or thinking. What method does the human being apart from thinking of him? What can the Brahmana or Chandala do except think of him? It is difficult to understand a method to please him. So this is actually the crux of the matter. Okay, nice, I understand the Tattva, I understand Krishna. But how do we please him? How do we become Krishna conscious? So Babaji replies, utilizing a verse from the Katha Upanishad, 2.2.12. Tam atmastam ye nupashyanti dhiras tesham shanti shashvati netaresham. Those wise persons who see him situated within attain peace and not others. So you have to look within, he said, your heart. Prajnath said, if one cannot see him within, one can see him within, one attains eternal peace. I do not understand how to see him. This question he's asking is Guru Maharaj. I do not understand it. If you could see him, you get peace, but I don't even know how to see him. Babaji said, the Katha Upanishad 1.2.23 says, Naimatma balvijlena labhyo namedya na bahuna shrutena yamma eva shavrinute tena labhyas tashayishatma vivrinute tanum swam. The Lord is not attained by speaking, by intelligence, or by hearing. He's attained by the person whom he chooses. The Lord shows his form to him. So as a side note, yes, we agree 100%. So if the person Krishna chooses is someone known to you, then if you get his mercy, then Krishna will choose you also. Like if you can't afford to fly directly from the United States to Delhi, then wait a second. You cannot afford to. You can. Let me get into the plane. I'm thinking about flying already. If you cannot. Sorry, my mind got thought about some plane tickets that I'm actually planning out. If you cannot approach Krishna directly, then you choose the person who is approaching Krishna, who is able to see Krishna, and then you get the mercy from him. Okay. Bhagavatam says, Atapite deva padam bhujadvaya prasada leshanu grahita evahi janati tatvan bhagavan mahimno lachanyeko picharam vichinvan. O Lord, revealer of everything, O Lord endowed with all qualities, such persons receiving a particle of mercy from your lotus feet realize to some degree your greatness. Others cannot understand even after reflecting for a long time. So how do you receive a particle of mercy? That's interesting. That's from Srimad Bhagavatam 10:14-29. Prabhupada said that within the sound vibration of the pure devotee, contained within that sound vibration, the voice, the words contained are the saffron dust particles from the lotus feet of the Lord. So that's it. It's easy. Particle of mercy from your lotus feet. So those particles of mercy, are being given out freely by the pure devotee whenever the pure devotee speaks. My master is very merciful. One cannot attain the soul of the soul, Krishna, by reading many scriptures or considering their meaning. One cannot attain them by intelligence or by taking many gurus. Krishna will show himself in a Satchidananda form to the person who says that Krishna is mind and accepts him. You will easily understand this when you consider Abhideya. So Prabhupada actually said, and actually Rupa Goswami says, if one says, even one time, Krishna, I am yours. Krishna is mine and Krishna owns me. I am Krishna's and Krishna is mine. I surrender to you completely. Then Krishna takes charge of that person's life. But one has to say that with sincerity. It's not just, you just say that just as an actor. Rajanath said, is Krishna's abode mentioned in the Vedas? Another point from the Upanishads. Babaji said it is described in many places. In some places it is called Paravyoma, spiritual sky, Samvyoma, the complete sky, Brahma Gopal Puri, the spiritual place where Gopal is, or Gokula, the place of the cows. In the Shvetashvatara Upanishad 4.8, it is said, Richo akshare parame vyomam yasmin devadati vishve nishedu yastam naveda kim vichakarishyati ya ichitad vidusta ime samasate. The place is immutable, talking about the spiritual world, hidden in the Vedas, in which the Devatas take refuge. What will he who does not know this do with Vedic verses? Those who know reside there. In other words, what is the use of all these Vedic verses if you don't know this? Another verse that establishes the spiritual sky from the Upanishads, Divye Brahmapure Yeshav Vyom Yatma Pratishtita. The Lord is situated in the spiritual sky, the city of Brahman, Mukundaka Upanishad 2.2.7. Notice again, it's always the Upanishads or the Shrutis that are being quoted here to establish incontrovertibly the Siddhanta, Gaudiya Vaishnava Siddhanta. Gokulakye Mathura Mandale Dvayaparshe Chandravali Radhikacha. Someone has to call me in the middle of class. Hold on a second. That is very uncouth for someone to call me in the middle of class. Wait a second. We go back to Jaiva Dharma. In Gokul, within Mathura area, Chandravali and Radha are situated at his two sides. Wow. That's in the Purusha Bodhini Shruti mantra. Wow. So it's all there in the Shrutis. And just one more I'm going to read. Asamadje Sakshad Brahma Gopalapuri. Among those places, the city of Gopal is directly Brahman. That's from the Gopal Tapani Upanishad. So you see Krishna's identity, Krishna's place, everything is there in the Shrutis too. But the problem is that most of the ritualistic brahmanas, when they read the Shrutis, they're interested in the three modes of nature. They're not interested in the import and the purport of the Shrutis, as Krishna says in the 15th chapter, text 15 of the Gita, Vedaischa Savar Ahame Vavedya. So, with that in mind, We're going to take more doubts from Brajanath tomorrow. So right now we will stop sharing and allow you to express your doubts. Let me allow you to unmute yourselves. Okay. Who has a question? You can unmute yourself, or you can raise your hand, or you can type in the text window, or the chat window. Who has a question? Oh my God, nobody has questions. So, nobody has any philosophical questions about what we just read. It's very important substantiation of our philosophy from the Vedas, from the Shruti mantras. Very, very important what we just read. Okay, so we have a question from Arvinda.
This is Adidev Das Gurudev.
Oh!
I changed my name.
I didn't know it was Adidev. I thought it was Mr. Arvind. Okay, Adidev, so what's the question?
When we read all the Shrutis and scriptures, we know that the importance of Krishna and Bhakti. But again, in the name of practical service, we give the least priority for meditation and Bhakti and focus more on jobs and other duties and so many things. So it is kind of a risk of going into the karma kanda, right? Kind of thing. We give least priority for.
Well, meditation. You know the verse from the Bhagavad Gita, Brahmarpanam Brahma Havir Brahmagno Brahmano Hutam Brahma Tenagantavya Brahma Karma Samadhinam? No. Yes, no.
Yeah, I know, but I don't remember the translation right now, but you can explain me.
That when one does something, Brahma Karma means work for Brahman or work for Krishna. If one actually does this work for Krishna with a spirit of devotion, that's meditation, and meditates on doing that work nicely. That is meditation, and that work becomes Brahman. You understand? That work is actually meditation. If you meditate on doing something nicely for Krishna with a spirit of devotion, just like this verse in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Anyabilashta Shunyam Gyanakarmanapratam Anukuyena Krishnadu Shilanam Bhakti, that what is devotion? Devotion means to do something that Krishna wants you to do, to be active in it, and to do it with the spirit of devotion, those three different qualities. So if you're engaged in those things and meditating on how to do it nicely for Krishna, let's say you're making a flower garland, you may not be meditating on Krishna's form as you're making the flower garland. Of course, making the flower garland, you're thinking of putting it on Krishna. But cooking a particular preparation. Let's be a little less specific about Krishna's form. Let's say you're cooking pakoras or something like that in the kitchen, and you're just meditating on getting it cooked precisely right. And that's meditate for Krishna. The motivation has to be there too, not just the meditation on the pakora, even though it's for Krishna. But there's two things. You meditate on doing it nicely for Krishna. It has to be what Krishna wants rather than what you want. You can't just think, oh, I'd like to eat pakoras today. I'm going into the kitchen to cook pakoras for my deities because it would be delicious to have a pakora. Then you're just using Krishna as your checkout counter in the supermarket. But to meditate on pleasing Krishna, oh, Krishna wants a pakora, or be nice to offer a Krishna pakora. One thing I did when I was cooking for Krishna many years ago, I wouldn't actually eat what I cooked, which is interesting. Because I knew if I was going to eat what I would cook, then I'd be thinking about something else other than pleasing Krishna. So then I would just ask the devotees how it tasted and get their opinion. So anyway, so if you're meditating in that particular way and just thinking pleasing Krishna by your work, and that, it's a little stretch of the imagination. Let's say when you're going to work and working and whatever work everybody does, some people work
Yeah.
for tech field, tech business and everything like that, and computer or whatever. But if you keep remembering who you're doing it for and thinking about, I want to please Krishna by this, I'm doing it because it's my duty, and Krishna is giving me this duty, and I want to please Krishna by this duty, then that meditation is meditation on Krishna. It's practical meditation. And that's what that verse in the Bhagavad Gita says, that one makes a full contribution to Brahman, then the offering is Brahman, the person making the offering Brahman, and the result is Brahman. So everything, or as Prabhupada said, like you put an iron rod in fire, and then the iron rod, which was iron before, starts to act like fire. It's called Yukta Vairagya. So, and of course, we still have our sadhana. I mean, I'm not saying that we should just work for Krishna all day long, but we should have a balanced program. Like when Prabhupada was preaching Krishna consciousness and traveling in the Western world, that was meditation on Krishna. It's not that Prabhupada was thinking that, I could die at any minute, so let me just go back to Vrindavan and meditate on Krishna. Prabhupada was thinking, I could leave my body in any minute, so let me just preach and carry out the mission of my spiritual master. That's what Prabhupada was thinking. And that's why Prabhupada had Tamal Krishna Maharaj bring him to London, even though he was just a bag of bones, or his body was a bag of bones.
Where?
Yeah.
From the compost?
There.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, if you're directly like serving or preaching those, that we can understand, but when we are working like 40, 50 hours on computer and we forget, we don't even remember, when to drink water and what to speak of thinking about Krishna.
Oh, you're right, Dad. Wish the devotees at the temple were so dedicated as you are to your computer work. Somehow or other, you have to bring your mind back to the point of thinking why you're doing it, why you're doing it, and who you're doing it for.
Mm.
I mean, obviously, if what you're doing is an over endeavor, that's another thing. Like you have, what is this, Atyahara Parayasa Chalpa Jalpa Niyamagraha. Atyahara means over collecting or over endeavoring. If you're working so hard, and just because you want a bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger house or a better car or something like that, then that's another thing. Then you should think about that as over endeavor. So many. Anyway, you have to figure that out for yourself. That if your motivation, I'm not saying it is, but if someone's motivation is greed and they're over endeavoring and they have no time for any spiritual activity, then they really have to rethink their life. But if they're just being practical to maintain themselves and in a practical fashion in this world, that's another thing. So you have to ascertain that.
Right. Yeah. So the practicality.
This practicality. I mean, some people do have to work 40, 50 hours or 60 hours a week just to take care of their responsibilities.
Yes.
I mean, I'm not saying that that's bad. Some people do. But some people work harder to make more money. I mean, like my father, bless his heart, he would start work at 3 o'clock in the morning and not finish till 11 o'clock at night. And, because he wanted more and more and more. Which is not a bad idea, since I was able to give a lot of that to the movement. that wasn't his motivation. I'm happy he did it. I'm happy he over endeavored, so.
I can hear.
All right.
Thank you, Gurudev. Yeah.
All right. Very nice. Nice question. All right, so time for one. Oh, no time for another question. So, good question. All right, thank you very much, everyone, and we'll see everybody tomorrow. It's very exciting, this Jaiva Dharma, and we're learning about. I found it especially exciting to hear how the Shruti mantras. There's so many quotes in the Shruti mantras that justify or verify or substantiate what the Puranas are saying. You know, so many times people come to you and they say, well, where is that in the Shrutis? And, you know, especially if you're in India talking to ritualistic Brahmanas, they say, you know, what's the proof of that? I mean, you Vaishnavas follow the what? The Bhagavad Purana, but we want more proof than that. You know, we are just follow the Vedas, and they may not even recognize the Shruti. They may not even recognize the Itihasas or Puranas. There's many ritualistic Brahmanas who have that particular stance. Okay, thank you very much. We'll see everybody tomorrow. All glories to His Divine Grace. A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Gauranga.